So the Sims team just dropped what might be the most transparent damage control article I have seen from them in a while. I don't know whether to be impressed or concerned. They put out this little teaser video with some wild statistics. Apparently there are more than 2.4 quintillion possible combinations of gameplay scenarios when you factor in all the packs and updates. If you spent 1 second on each combination, it would take over 77 billion years to go through them all. These are cool stats, I guess, but it definitely feels like they're setting up a defense before we even get to the problems. So the article itself is called Reticulating the Splines, an update to our quality of life roadmap, and it's basically the Sims team going full transparency mode about why the game's been such a mess and what they're doing to fix it. Now, I'm gonna give credit where credit is due. There is some accountability happening here. They do straight up admit that they've been slower than they'd like to fix the issues players care about. And for a company that usually deflects or stays quiet, I think it is worth at least acknowledging a little bit. But we need to talk about why this is happening now. This sudden communication shift isn't normal for EA and the Sims team. Something's changed, and I think we all know what it is. So what are they promising? Well, tomorrow, November 25th, we're gonna be getting a laundry list that'll preview what's coming in the December 2nd update. That update's bringing 40 plus fixes and improvements, smaller than the 150 plus fixes we got in November, but still significant. They're also previewing what's coming in January, so another patch after December. So we've got a steady cadence now. September's quality of life roadmap announcement, November's massive bug fix patch. We have the December patch on the horizon, and then January's patch to look forward to in the new year. So they are shifting from big infrequent updates to more regular, consistent fixes. They're also doing dev Q&As on Discord now. That seems to be a regular thing, and the next one is going to be tomorrow, same day as the laundry list preview. So they're definitely pushing hard on this whole we're listening, we're communicating angle. But the big question is, why now of all times? Why this sudden shift after years of these same old patterns? You know, I think the answer is pretty obvious if you have been paying attention. The Saudi Arabian buyout probably tanked sales. When you take a peek at social media, the latest kits basically made no noise within the community. I'm personally willing to bet they sold poorly, and now we're seeing this massive PR push where they're doing everything possible to win back player trust and keep people buying content. So I definitely think the timing isn't a coincidence here. Now, the actual article, because they do lay out some interesting technical stuff. They're leaning into this complexity defense, the idea that The Sims 4 is so interconnected that random things and bugs are uniquely challenging to track down. They mention that even if 2 players take the same exact steps, the outcomes could differ because of how the simulation works. And you know, that is true. Life sim games are complex, and the code that lays underneath of them is complex. The freeform gameplay and the randomness, the years of content layered on top of each other do create problems that aren't easy to solve. We've been saying for years that this game should have ended already. When they announced The Sims 4 wasn't going anywhere and that they had more years planned, a lot of us saw this coming. You can't keep piling content onto the same foundation forever without things starting to break. And what's bad is things were already breaking back then. So this is the inevitable that we predicted. But they keep it going because it's profitable. Why would they stop when people were still buying? As a company that cares about money first, and that's what EA is, stopping didn't and still doesn't make sense. So, you know, it only makes sense that they continue to milk it, they continue to rake in all of that cash and keep pushing the game forward. But I guess that's how they saw it, pushing it forward. In our eyes, it was more like pushing it backward. And now we're here. The foundation is cracked, saves are corrupting, players are frustrated, and suddenly they're scrambling to fix things because the money might be drying up. Now, the save corruption stuff is the big one that everyone's been worried about. They've been investigating this since early 2025, and they're finally sharing some of what they found. Some of these updates we have heard about previously, but with more detail here in this new article. So they've identified an issue causing infinite loading when you convert pen tiles houses or dorms into residential rentals. That got fixed in the November 4th update, and it'll work retroactively to restore affected saves. Good news if you were hit by that specific bug. Now in December, they're going to be fixing 3 specific error codes, 2 variations of 109 and 123. These address issues they've seen in affected saves, though they're still monitoring 4 new variants. They're also working on error 801, which happens when multiple processes compete during loading. Then there's this thing called photo buff overflow, where save data or lot data gets so massive it exceeds storage limits, which leads to missing or corrupted lots. Their memory boost feature apparently reduces this risk on some hardware, and they've launched a survey for anyone who's experienced these issues. They're also testing a bunch of other potential causes, overstuffed or cheat-heavy lots where complex builds might corrupt saves when cheats aren't enabled. We have mod data persistence, where removed mods leave residual data that carries through gallery uploads. Venue data carryover, where settings from one save transfer into another within the same session. And their conclusion here is that there is no single cause, it is multiple things all contributing to the problem. And they published a deeper technical breakdown on the EA forums for anyone who wants to get into the weeds. We've already covered this in one of my previous videos. They also have full guides on backing up saves and reducing the chance of issues. So, I appreciate the transparency. It is refreshing to see them explain what is going on instead of just saying we're investigating and leaving it at that, because we have heard that phrase enough. But until we see these fixes working in our games, these are just words. Simmers have earned the right to be skeptical. These issues have been under investigation for many months. Save corruption's been a problem for a long time, I believe since For Rent, and in some cases even earlier. Infinite loading's been frustrating players forever. So it is great that they're talking about progress and giving us timelines, but we've heard these promises before. What matters now is whether the December patch is going to fix these problems, or whether the January patch continues that momentum, and if this commitment to regular updates does in fact stick. Because you never know, if sales go back up again, maybe there's no incentive to continue this. There was this whole push like a year and a half, maybe almost 2 years ago, where they hired a dedicated team for bugs, but then that slowly just dissipated into nothing. So how long until this does the same? If sales weren't suffering, would we be getting this level of transparency? Would we be getting dev Q&As and laundry list previews and articles explaining the technical complexities of save corruption? Or would we still be getting the usual, we're aware of this issue and investigating responses with no real details or timelines? I really do think that the buyout changed everything here. Those recent kits are likely underperforming, and it's likely sent alarm bells ringing. EA likely looked at numbers and realized they need to do more damage control, because if the community loses faith completely, if players stop buying content entirely, then that's going to be a problem for them. So if you've been affected by save corruption or infinite loading, check out the EA forums post where they do go deeper into the technical stuff. And please remember to back up your saves if you haven't already when we get new patches. They have a whole guide for that. And definitely keep an eye on tomorrow's laundry list preview to see exactly what's coming in December. I will be going through that with you guys too. So let me know what you think about all of this. Are you feeling more confident after reading their breakdown, or are you staying skeptical until you see the results? Definitely let me know what you think down in the comments below. As always, thank you so much for clicking and watching. Take care and happy life simming, guys.